think that's actually a bigger mode these days. Like, technology is a commodity at this point, and really, like, the community is probably the most important part. So, can you tell me about like how you guys like grew yours to the size that it is right now?
You mean the community building, Kadeem? Just hear you correctly.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think as a project, we had to strategize quite deeply, really, on how we're going to approach community building, because that is a massive factor in the success of a crypto project, as you've just alluded to, I believe. And really, we're not a project that raised hundreds of millions of dollars at really high valuations. So we kind of looked at the landscape and we thought, okay, well, we don't want to be exhausting funds on marketing at the early stages. So how do we really build organic traction and awareness of what we're doing? And that is why we went through the arduous, difficult process of launching a testnet. As Slava mentioned, forking a lot of chains and protocols and building our own testnet. Because really, we wanted to ensure that we really can get hold of valuable strategic partners that we're going to be approaching, not just for the purposes of a logo exchange, but also really from an integration and a proven perspective. So that, coupled with an airdrop strategy and just generally, obviously, what we're building uh, and what we have been building, that was core to how we decided we're going to approach the community aspect and building a community. We're not really come out of full product focus yet. We are about to launch some amazing initiatives very soon with amazing thread writers, all engaging in competition very soon on all of the facets and verticals of what we're building at Entangle. But really, the partnerships was very, very crucial to how we were going to set up in this space. And we were very fortunate that a successful, very quick in execution, and a very good looking UX UI, and we just went into conversations with the likes of Sushi Swap, Trader Joe, Spooky Swap, Phantom Foundation, AVAX, and multitude of others, with 8 connected layer 1s, layer 2s, and also 10, 12 connected dexes where we were creating LSDs of their LPs. And that was very, very well received, because it was quite refreshing for the partner's perspective for a project to come along and say, hi, we're Entangle, we've already integrated you on our testnet, we're already bringing you this value, and we can showcase, and can you give us some co-marketing, some partnerships, and this is our plan for from testnet transitioning to v2 to mainnet, and this is how we intend to build with you, integrate you along the journey, and then as we can be more and more flexible, especially post audit, and once we have more flexibility in our logic for v2, there's a whole multitude of benefits that we can bring to you. So we were very, very fortunate that we've got great partners like Polygon on board, who've introduced us to so many different protocols on their layer 1, on their layer 2, sorry. And then one more thing that we really looked down, and we sat down with Slava and myself in particular, was we said, look, we also, in competing against very, very large budgets, we need to design something even within the product design which is able to pivot on narratives, because narrative hijacking is a very, very important piece of the crypto marketing equation. So from an Entangle perspective, we came up with LSDs a year and a half ago, really, when we were started researching the project. We just called them synthetic LPs or synthetic vaults. But really, these are LSDs. So we're very fortunate as we progressed and we built a successful version of these cross-chain LSDs. The narrative itself came to light. But then from a connectivity perspective, we also can connect to any ZK instance. So we're already speaking with BNB Chain, already in the middle of a partnership, agreement or discussions about how we could potentially integrate ZK BNB, and once it's more mature on their side, ZK Polygon. So we already have positioned ourselves with ZK Sync. We're speaking to ZK Credit. So we've already positioned ourselves to tap into this ZK narrative. Then, recently, I'm not sure how many of the members of the community are aware of how Link are approaching their business model very soon, but they will be charging for their data transmission and Oracle services. Previously, it was bootstrapped or paid for by Link tokens. And we truly believe and we envisage that the Oracle narrative is going to be huge. There's also massive composable cross-chain DeFi narrative. And that's just at the very start. And Slava's mentioned some very exotic types of meta bridges and things that we can do. And also, just generally, you can have a launch pad or even a gambling game on X protocol that can suddenly connect to different protocols almost very, very quickly using the Entangle infrastructure. So we are positioning ourselves to be very flexible on narrative to make sure that, and with our, CMO, who's constantly on this and is actually very narrative driven with his own thread writing, we're always on the, that is part of the design of what we're doing. So combine that with the partnerships, with strong business development, with numerous partnerships we're acquiring at the moment that we will be acquiring, bundle that with AMA's real integrations, real announcements, and real, first grade tech that actually does what it says on the tin. I think the community is really a given once we really start to launch some of these initiatives in the very near future.
Nice. Yeah, that's definitely very